If you were a baker making bread, you would need yeast to make it rise. So how would you know if your yeast was dead? How would you know that you didn't find the living yeast? Well, your bread wouldn't rise. It would be flat. And that's the way life is. You have to find your living yeast. So let's look. Where is your living yeast? And how would you know if you found it? But first, I'm Ed Connolly, and I practice awakening and awareness, or finding the living yeast, since the 50s. I'm 89 years old. And this is my metaphor this morning. Finding the living yeast in your life. How do you know if it's living? Well, this is a very easy question to answer. What is your passion? What arouses you, regardless of whether you make any money or get fame for it? What arouses you if you don't get paid, if you don't get any fruit or merit? That is your living yeast. Is there anything in your life that arouses you that you would do for nothing? That you would do without people noticing it? There, that is your living yeast. Living yeast has passion. Living yeast has enthusiasm. But what does the world do? It curbs your enthusiasm. Because the world sells you pre-packaged, pre-baked bread. The world sells you Wonder Bread. Every different loaf of bread on the shelf, metaphorically speaking, is Wonder Bread. If you buy this bread, it's going to be wonderful. If you buy this bread, this white bread, this Wonder Bread, it'll last forever. And it really does. I remember Wonder Bread. I guess they're still selling it. It was good for bait. You could put it on a hook and catch little brim with that bait because the water wouldn't dissolve it. It would last forever. This is a great metaphor, Wonder Bread. I guess they're still making it. Anyway, how do you know you found your living yeast in the life you are making? And again, it's the passion and the enthusiasm. If your life has no enthusiasm, excuse me, if your life does not rise in the morning excited about baking something, well, then you're eating Wonder Bread. You've selected Wonder Bread or some other bread with a label that says, I'm wonderful, try it. Trump bread. What's Trump bread? Bread. But Wonder Bread. Eat this, you'll feel wonderful. This bread is wonderful. But what Trump has done, very ingenious, he's removing all the other breads. He's removing all the fragmentation of breads, you see, so that there are no recipes or breads on the shelf, only Wonder Bread, Trump bread. And you'll have to be satisfied with it because it's the only bread there is. This is like the metaphor for the state store, where there's only one loaf of bread, you see, no choices. So this is the logic behind Trump. Don't find your own yeast, eat my bread. This will make you feel that you've risen again. As a people, a MAGA people, you will rise again, you see, and feel wonderful and empowered and special. The special bread, because you will be the only bread on the shelf. And if you see another loaf, a dim bread or a LBGT bread or a gay bread or a black bread, get rid of it. Or an immigrant bread, get rid of it, you see. You can only have one Trump bread on the shelf. And that will be wonderful because there will be no comparison. If you don't have any breads to compare, the bread you have is the best bread. There's no comparison. We say that. Oh, there's no comparison with that. It's wonderful. So the rule of Trump and the ego, Trump is a metaphor, The rule of Trump is that if you remove all other comparisons, you are the greatest bread or person that ever lived. This is the way the ego works. The ego wants to be one, the king, the special, the unique one. Just look at all the fashions. We buy fashions that make us look unique, so we want to buy the fashion that's a little bit ahead of the shelf fashions. That's why you have to go to have money. You can go to a designer custom shop and get your fashions made, custom made, so they don't look like shelf bread, so they don't have labels on them. They're unique. But then they get gobbled up by the big stores, beyond pennies again or whatever, and you have to go get a new fashion. You have to see the formula for this. The bakery is a good metaphor. The bread on the shelf doesn't have living yeast because the only living yeast is you. You're living. The bread on the shelf is not living. It's dead. Get the metaphor here. Get the shift. We live in a world today that's fragmented breads. Everybody's got the Wonder Bread. Everybody's now on the internet, Facebook, TikTok. Everybody can break bread. Everybody's got a podcast, a newscast that says this is the Wonder Bread. This is the viewpoint that is better than all other viewpoints. Watch me. Watch me. Even here on my Facebook, on this TikTok, I'm saying, subscribe. Watch me. I'm the Wonder Bread. We can't get away from it. To function in society, you have to go to the bakery. But you have to discover the yeast within yourself, because then you are a content creator. Then you create the bread, and it's living bread because it comes from you. But every baker knows that once you bake your bread, you let it go. You don't run around claiming that yesterday's loaf is the Wonder Bread. No, you just keep baking new loaves. You just keep giving new talks. You just keep creating new crafts. You just keep cooking creative meals. You don't see the metaphor here? This is why I love TikTok, because a content creator has living yeast. You have to find the living yeast in yourself to create content on Facebook and TikTok, I do both, which is fresh, unique, special, never seen before, never heard before. It can be either crazy, that's stupid, or wonderful. But the point is, the baker doesn't give a shit. Because the baker knows where the living bread is. The baker knows how to make loaves. All his interest is cooking new loaves of bread. He doesn't sell one, label it, make a franchise out of it. He keeps making new loaves. So find the living yeast in you, and you will keep baking new ideas, new viewpoints, new content, you see. You don't have to be on Facebook. You don't have to be on TikTok. You do it in your kitchen. You do it in your house. Where is your passion? Find your passion. You find your living yeast, and you let your living yeast create the content, and you won't know what it's going to be. It'll be a new recipe, a new bread, a new flavor. Wow. But you don't make a franchise out of it. You just keep making new flavors, new bread, you see? This is the way you work with a metaphor. I started with a metaphor of living yeast needed for sourdough, and we worked it and kneaded it through this talk. I didn't know what I was going to say. It was an exploration. I'm baking bread as we talk, and I don't know how it's going to come out. But I trust it'll be sweet. Thanks for dropping in. Now subscribe to this bread.